有一大群人在牡丹的餐厅举办会议，他们让我在餐桌旁架设我的工作台，让我在会议进行时一面画他们的肖像。
My project came out of my experiences traveling in Tibet. I had been traveling with my daughter, and I took a lot of photos of people, and I did some paintings. And then when I got home, I noticed that the gaze, the way the people looked in the Tibetan portraits was very different than the paintings I normally make of my New York artist friends. My artist friends are very selfish and narcissistic, and their gaze is very look at me. It's a very external gaze, and I noticed in the monks and the nomads who don't spend that much time looking in the mirror compared to my friends, there was something very internal about their gaze, and I was very interested in this different kind of gaze. So I got an idea for a Fulbright project that I would come to Taiwan and do portraits of indigenous people here. But this time I wanted to do drawings because I was really disappointed in my project in Tibet because the people who I painted never got to see the paintings, and for me the painting is completed when the subject sees it and they understand how I saw them, and I like to reveal myself in that way. So I wrote this proposal for the Fulbright to come and paint the Taiwanese Aboriginal people. I chose it for a number of reasons. I was interested in the Taiwanese Aboriginal people because they're outside of the mainstream culture, and I was interested in painting people who were outside to see if there was something different about them in the way that there was something different about the Tibetans. So that was one reason. Another reason was that I wanted to come to a Mandarin-speaking country because my daughter speaks Mandarin, and she's 10 years old, and we like to work on projects together. And so she would be my interpreter.
你几岁？我25。
What age is she?
She's 25 too.
She's 25.
I had to convince 10 people every day to pose for a painting, and that's a very difficult thing to do. And because my daughter is very sweet, and I think also because we were like a mother and child. When we went into these small villages, people found us not very threatening, and it was easy for them to warm up to us. That's an interesting thing. I think of art as an elevator, and it stops on different floors. Different kinds of art stops on different floors, and maybe conceptual art will stop on one floor up here, but maybe not on the bottom floor. But the nice thing about portraits is it stops on every floor. Everybody has a face and can relate to it. And I like the idea of trying to make artwork that will stop on every floor, that everybody has a chance to get involved. I decided that I would use the camera lucida because that would allow me to draw quickly, but I would be drawing and I would have the relationship and they would see the finished painting. So the camera lucida is a device that was invented during the Renaissance. It's a lens on a stick, and it allows you to plot some points of someone's face so you can get the likeness quickly. It doesn't make a painting, and it doesn't make art. It just gives you some points so that you know the eyes and the nose are basically in the right place. And I have a friend named David Hockney who's quite a well-known artist, and he had been doing some research with it. And because it's something that hasn't been in fashion for maybe 500 years. So I got to know it through him, and I taught myself how to use it for the project. Well, it's an interesting thing about the photos of the people holding the portraits. Originally, I wasn't planning that. I was just going to do drawings. And then I was taking photos so that when I go home and make oil paintings, I would have photographic material to use with the drawings so that I could be sure to do a good painting. And then I started noticing that in some cases, maybe the photo of the person holding the drawing was actually better than the drawing, that it was the real art. And so it raised a question to me of, is the watercolor the art, or is the photo of the person holding the watercolor the art? And that really interested me. But there were other things I liked about it too. It gave the subject a chance to present their photo. And I noticed that in the photos with them holding the portrait, the psychological feeling on each subject is very different. Some people are really proud, some people are joking, some people are looking like what's going on, and something about this other layer of meaning. It's not just that I made their drawing, but then they're showing you the drawing and they're telling you how they feel about the drawing. So that really interested me, and yeah, I think that was the thing that really caught my interest was, oh, and it gives the viewer a chance to see if I did a good job, because they see the drawing and then they see the person and then they can see, does it look like her? And so so that's an interesting thing. So in the end, the person who's in the audience can judge whether or not I can do the painting. Well, originally I was planning to just paint a certain number of Aboriginal people. And then what I noticed when I went to the villages is the line between Taiwanese and Aboriginal people is not clear. Oftentimes there's mixes. And so I started painting more people. And then as I traveled around, more people wanted to be painted, and it was very difficult to say no. So I decided finally to open up the project to anybody who was living or working in Taiwan. And I decided on 888 because I know that 8 is a very lucky number in Chinese. And I also felt that I had 90 days to paint the portraits. So I figured 10 a day was just enough so that it was difficult, but not so much that it was impossible. I could do that amount of work in 4 hours, but we still had to find the people. So it was enough so that if I hit the goal, let's say by 1 o'clock, my daughter and I could go swimming. So it made it, it was a perfect goal. But also the number 8, because it's connected to prosperity, I could tell people that if I painted them, they were in the project, they would get rich. And they thought that was great, so it gave me an argument for why they should be painted. And so I did finish the project, and I don't know if everybody got rich, but I think there's a kind of spiritual richness, and I feel that I've had a lot of luck since I finished. I like to believe that everybody who I painted has had some kind of fortunate experience.
Okay, good. She's done. Okay, so she's going to sign her name.
Okay.
Okay. Do you like it?
你喜欢不喜欢? Oh, good. She likes it.
So you can write your name.
What I tried to do was, after I finished a painting, I would have the subject sign the painting. So it's not my signature, it's their signature. And it was something that I did for a number of reasons. One is that the signature in Chinese art is often calligraphy is often the artwork. So I thought it would be a way to get the subject in on the art. They were also creating it with me. And it also is like signing a contract, like they approve, so they're signing it. But another thing that it did was it kind of created a bond or like some trust, because they, I finished this painting and then suddenly the pencil is being handed to them. And they're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to draw on this. And it was just a way of, they could do anything. I mean, they could put an X on it if they didn't like it. But so it was just a way of saying, this is something we did together. Now you are the last person to put the last mark on it. And it was really a nice thing to see. And also I have everybody's name, so I can figure out who they are, and with an interpreter, of course. So it's, I think it makes it a shared project.